Okay, so I threw a 4x8 sheet of MDO substrate onto my table. This is a weather-resistant material that we use for outdoor signs. It has like a resin impregnated into it. The CNC machine is pocketing out where the letters will recess in, so we're going to be inlaying these letters. I'm making them slightly oversized, and the reason for this is when we add paint to the letters, they'll be able to fit into the inlays. If I weren't to give it a little allowance, then the letters wouldn't fit tight once we painted them. And so right now I'm actually engraving the state of Nevada onto the sheet itself. And you'll notice here that when I cut it, it's going over these letters. But don't be alarmed with that, because those are whole letters that are going to be sitting in there, and you won't even see where it did that. But on the inside of that Nevada will be painted gray. And here I'm just cutting out the sign. And this would be the basis, the first layer that my sign will take. Okay, so that's all done. Now it's about time to lift it up by myself as awkwardly as possible, and we'll move it over on the table. I was worried I was going to blow a gasket, but I think I was okay. Yeah, what are you going to do now, James? What are you going to do now? That's what I'm going to do. All right, positioning this. Pretty awkward, as you can see, trying to get this sheet up by myself. Am I cool? No. Alright, just vacuuming out the grooves, checking out how everything worked out here. So far, so good. Little overview here of the pocketing. Now we're just test fitting the letters. I cut the first one out, making sure that I have enough allowance, as well as the depth is correct. What you don't see here is I actually chamfered the top of the letters, and this is what I'm using. This is a 60-degree half-inch V-bit, and that's what it does right there for the letters. Gives it a nice little profile, finished look. So now that all the letters were V-grooved, just cutting them out. I love that little multi-tool. It's a little workhorse. Sanding, checking the edges, getting rid of the fuzz. The letters really turned out nice. Now here, no, not so much. One of my tabs broke and that failed. I'm cutting out this next layer, which will be the top of the design. I think it's like a 2.5 inch ring. And there it is, just setting it on top. Little hand sanding. Nothing exciting. I'll speed through this here. Okay, this is the intermediate layer. This is going to give me my depth. What I'm doing here is I'm going to be putting in some lighting, some LED rope lighting, and this will create a little air gap for me so I can recess that into my overall design, which I'll explain at the very end of the video. But this just kind of gives me a little jog up and just recess it. So I'm just measuring everything out, going to cut it to shape. Now I'm using this premium Loctite adhesive, very strong stuff. It's extremely hard to get out of the caulking gun. I should have went to there's an easier grade one below this one. But anyways, it's almost just as if it was like liquid nails. So I'm just tacking it here. Just repeat for all 4 sides. I didn't want to nail through my nice pre-finished plywood, so that's why I put a little spacer under there. Nails that I had were just a little bit too long. And I got a lot of misfires, so make sure you oil your guns up. Usually about 5 drops does the key. Otherwise they just start malfunctioning, and then it's getting a lot more frustrating. Especially in that area for me, it kicked my butt. Hence the clamps. Just getting rid of all the glue out here. It's a lot of squeeze out. You don't want this hardening because this stuff, once it dries, it's like rock hard. So now I'm just applying some caulking to seal up that area. We don't want water getting in there. Tell you what, it is so hard. I mean, I have lots of hours of video here, and I like to show the full process for you guys, but I have to cut out so much because I get bored after watching just so much. So I'm attaching it right now, just laying on the next layer. And if you kind of look closely, you can see that there is a gap between the bottom sheet and that top one because of the spacer boards I put in between. And that's because my rope lighting will go under there, under that ledge. Alignment's key here before it dries. I think I'm using 16 gauge brads just to secure it, but I will be running screws, as you can see right here, making sure it's fastened down really well. Now I'm just providing a chamfer on the inside, gives it more depth. Here I'm using a flush trim router bit. This is to make all three boards nice and on the same plane, nice and smooth. I'd be careful there because I had some blowback from not oiling my gun. Those nails were exposed. That required some hand sanding. Now I have some joint compound, and I'm gonna just kind of marry all three together. This is dry deck spackling. You can get at Lowe's, Home Depot, any of those stores. And just painting it on there, basically, just spreading it on there. It's pink, which is really nice, and when it dries it turns white. So I'll go all around the whole shape here. It can get kind of messy, but it's almost just like drywall compound. Great way of finishing up things. A lot of painters will use this for like fascia boards or trim that are split pretty bad. They'll just kind of paste this stuff on there and then let it dry and then sand it, and it becomes a smooth surface. Just in case any of you have some bad soffits or fascia boards, trim boards. It's magic, man. You can see it already turning white on some areas. Dries pretty quick. I'll go ahead and do my screw holes also. And once you paint this, you'll never see this. It's just as if you were using wood putty in a sense. The great thing is now I have new lighting in my shop, so hopefully these videos are going to be much more lit up and clearer. Well, I had to show this part of the video because this is all I'm going to have. The painting contractor wanted to paint the letters themselves, pretty much the whole sign, so unfortunately I didn't get to post that here, and it's still not done as of the making of this video. But there's the screw holes that I filled in with that filler. You can kind of see the 3 layers here. So we have a bottom layer, which is 3/4 MDF. Then we have that 1/2 inch 1x4, not 1x4, but some trim board. And then we have another 3/4 inch piece there. You can kind of see the chamfer right there, and then the recessed groove. This is where the LED lighting, rope lighting, will be held into. So then there's our V groove, give it more depth. Here you'll see that these letters are loose fitting. That was on purpose. There'll be paint applied to these letters, and if I were to make it exactly the size of the letters, once you apply paint you won't be able to even squeeze them in there. So we left them a little oversized, gave it an allowance. The cut is pretty nice on these, and the pocket also. So it's just going to rest right into there. There's the detail of the letters, that little V groove. Turned out really well. Then we have that groove for the state of Nevada. Inside that will be the painting of the gray. The body, the whole back part, that's going to be white. That will be gray where the Nevada is. The letters, they're going to be blue. And the star is either going to be white or gold. And then that border there is going to be blue. So we have blue border, a white background. We have a gray state of Nevada, blue letters, a white or gold star. And then that's where our LED rope lighting will be recessed in. It will be glued in. I hope you liked it. This kind of was quick. There's a lot of footage in here I had to cut out, so I wanted to just get it as quick as I could. And we'll continue on with the next one. Thanks for watching. If you can, please subscribe or like.